Hey y'all, Iric Sky here, and I promised you this video, but I told y'all that I would not deliver this video until I've had significant hands-on time with my Mavic Air 2. Now obviously I've been flying the Mavic 2 Pro for a very long time, but the Mavic Air 2 at the time of filming this video, I've only had it for a few weeks. But what I'm going to now formally say, and comment down below because I want to hear what you think about my opinions. And by the way, if you're looking for the Mavic Air 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, any other drones, accessories, expand this video's description and then click the link there, and you can find it all there on epicdroneshow.com, or simply just go to epicdroneshow.com and then click buy a drone. So let's go ahead and take this out of the case. And this obviously is the Mavic Air 2. So we're going to take it out and we're going to talk about it in depth, and I'm going to share with you my opinions as to why I feel that the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic Air 2 Pro is the better drone. And again, these are my opinions. So, you know, I accept your opinions, and I mean, I appreciate your opinions and I respect your opinions, but these are my opinions, and I'm hoping that within this video I'll be able to provide enough justification as necessary to back my opinions. So first of all, the Mavic Air 2 wins in the controller department. Yes, Mavic 2 Pro has a smart controller option, which I love the smart controller for the Mavic 2 Pro. It's a very good experience, you know, not having to, with the Mavic 2 Pro, fumble with attaching a smartphone to function as a screen. However, the Mavic 2 Pro smart controller, it brings a unique set of challenges. You know, you've got an integrated screen. Should something go wrong with the screen is integrated into the controller itself. And also, it's integrated into the controller, so beyond firmware updates, there's not a lot of upgrade options available. Whereas with a controller like the Mavic Air 2's controller that has bring your own screen and attach on the top, which is super nice, by the way. But with it, what's great about that is that, you know, as devices continue to improve, iPhones, Android phones, etc., you simply upgrade your device and then you pop whatever compatible device that you own into the top of this. So the screen is not married to the controller. So that's actually an advantage in my opinion. I disliked the previous Mavic controllers, you know, the ones that had the little wonky pop down handles. I didn't like that. You know, even stripping my phone down, and I've got my phone over there on its wireless charger, but even stripping my phone down or putting it in a minimalist case that's super thin and super lightweight, it was still a challenge to stick that phone into the handles on the bottom of the old model Mavic controllers. And even with the case off, it was challenging. And it often made me wonder, am I going to scratch my phone when I take it in and out? So it wasn't a good experience. This is super nice. Mavic Air 2, you just pop it up, put your phone in. It's even got little grooved areas there for your, you know, your smartphone has buttons on the side. Great design. And then obviously I'm using an iPhone, so I pop out my iOS style cable and boom, there you go. Plugs into my phone. Super duper job. The controller for the Mavic Air 2 definitely wins. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the antennas are integrated into the thing that's holding your smartphone. Just excellent design. Did some posted some comments during live shows, and apparently the person that designed this controller is a multi-billionaire. And I mean, it's easy to see why. I mean, it's good. It's great build quality. It's awesome design. I mean, it really is. It's truly awesome design, and that's just the controller that we talked about. Obviously, this video we got to get to is Mavic Air 2 or Mavic 2 Pro better, and why? So yes, Mavic Air 2's controller, best controller in the drone industry today. No, it does not have an integrated screen like the smart controller, but in my opinion, I like the flexibility of being able to use my own device and not having that screen integrated into the controller. This is super nice. They did a wonderful job. DJI, good job, good job, good job. Okay, now we go to the drone itself. So the Mavic Air 2, you look at it, you're like, man, that looks like a Mavic 2 Pro. Yeah, it's very similar design. You know, unlike the previous model Mavic Air that came in a variety of different colors, this doesn't. At least at this point in time, it's just you get this this good looking gray color, and you either like it or you hate it. And I love it. So, you know, obviously the folding and the unfolding, it's a very similar process. You'll feel, whoops, I was going to say you should feel right at home. Always remember, unfold the front first and then unfold the rear. So, and then, you know, so I mean, it's just, you should feel right at home with that. Obviously, you got your little camera guard on the front. You should feel right at home with that, same type thing. This camera on the Mavic Air 2, I want to mention, it is an it's 48 megapixel, and it is an f2.8 aperture. This is not a 1-inch sensor. So if you don't know a ton about cameras, the Mavic 2 Pro has a 1-inch sensor. So at a high level, what that 1-inch sensor is going to do is provide you with a little bit better detail. And obviously in lower light situations, if you've ever used a cheap like webcam or smartphone and it's, you know, it's dark or starting to get dark, you'll see the black areas, you'll see like spots and stuff moving around, just looks wonky. That's what happens with a cheap camera. With a 1-inch sensor camera, although there's cameras like my Sony Alphas that I use that are not attached to a drone that even do better in low light, but typically a 1-inch sensor camera is a very solid performer in low light conditions. So if you watch my Mavic 2 Pro sunset videos, especially where there's areas where there's a lot of black, you know, really black spots, you can look at those black areas and you can notice how clean they look. You know, you don't see all the noise. You look at something that was filmed with a camera that does not have a 1-inch sensor, just because of the nature of the camera's design, you're probably going to notice more noise during low light situations. So I wanted to go ahead and throw that out first, because what I just said would make you believe that, oh, the Mavic 2 Pro's camera is better, and I like the Mavic 2 Pro's camera more. Now, let me explain in more depth why, yes, that's important, but does it actually change my opinion? So, Mavic 2 Pro, if you watch, just check out my Mavic 2 Pro video playlist and watch my videos, especially the earlier videos before Mavic 2 Pro's firmware had been updated a few times. The earlier Mavic 2 Pro firmware versions, they had, there were issues. The autofocus for the camera did not work reliably. So with Mavic 2 Pro, the earlier firmwares, I had to use manual focus to achieve sharp focus. And obviously anything that's manual, you set it and, you know, it's not constantly autofocusing, continuously autofocusing. So some people may love manual focus, some people may not. You know, my rule of thumb for manual focus is you know, if I'm doing something and the subject is not moving around, yeah, even though I may trust autofocus in whatever camera, manual focus is just going to keep it locked. You know, once I've set that focus, if things aren't coming closer or going further away from the camera, once I've set that manual focus and assuming that I made it 100% well focused, that should remain 100% well focused throughout that video. Now with a drone, typically, even if you're using manual focus like I was with the Mavic 2 Pro, that wasn't a problem, because I would set the manual focus to infinity, and then I would fly. Since I was flying and filming landscape type shots, manual focus was fine, because I didn't really have the need for, you know, introducing something, you know, that it's going by and, you know, having to refocus for that, because normally it was just wide open spaces where I was flying. Now, if you're flying through a forest, for example, or somewhere where you're going to be passing trees, passing poles, passing objects, autofocus is probably going to be better, because, you know, once you set that manual focus, and sure, you can adjust manual focus as you fly, but is that really that convenient, you know, trying to fumble with all that while flying the drone? But with autofocus continuous, if you've got a good autofocus system on a camera, it should be able to anticipate those changes and be able to smoothly keep peak focus by using autofocus continuous. So the absence of even with the most recent Mavic 2 Pro firmware updates, and there was one that keeps coming to mind, and I've commented about this before, I had 3 batteries for my Mavic 2 Pro. And I had this one scenario where I swam to shore. Check out my videos. But I swam from the boat because you couldn't pull up on shore because it's a protected area. You know, you can't just pull up on beaches anywhere in the Caribbean. You know, some places you got to tie off to a mooring buoy. So we tied off to a mooring buoy. I put my Sony Alpha camera, my lenses, my Mavic 2 Pro, all of that in a dry bag and swam to shore. The problem was that, you know, I had developed a high degree of confidence with the Mavic 2 Pro's autofocusing system at that point in time, because I had updated the firmware several times, and I had become convinced that the Mavic 2 Pro's autofocus system was reliable and I could trust it, and I did trust it. But that one key moment, and I didn't realize it until I returned to the studio, but that one key moment after I had gone to shore, after I had swam to shore, unpacked my drone, put it on the beach, and launched it on this island, this tiny island. I was the only person on the island. After I had done that and filmed it, I had the perfect shot, you know, just like a takeoff and the camera shooting down, and you see me, and then you see the entire island, and just surrounded by water. Autofocus on Mavic 2 Pro failed throughout the first few seconds of that clip. So the takeoff was not well focused. It ruined the shot. I was mad. I mean, I didn't realize it at the time until I returned to the studio. But, you know, I was at fault because I was trusting Mavic 2 Pro's autofocus's performance. And that was a mistake. I should have used manual focus. But then again, if I was using manual focus in that scenario, once I set the focus, part of it would be out of focus because I would be focused to a certain point. So manual focus introduces a unique set of challenges for a drone operator. I don't like it. I don't. Now, yes, for my professional shoots and all of that, I like to use manual focus. For my Sony, and by the way, this video that I'm filming now with my Sony Alpha, this is an autofocus. Sony Alpha does a really good job now, and they didn't in the past, but they do a really good job now with autofocus. It's got eye tracking autofocus. So, you know, some autofocus systems I trust. But, so, you know, you got to put all this out on the table. Is the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic Air 2 better? Well, you know, if you're looking at the low light, yeah, Mavic 2 Pro is going to win in that scenario because it's got the bigger sensor, the larger sensor. But then you've got to throw in like I've mentioned, the level of confidence that the operator can establish with their drone. I became very confident, highly confident with Mavic 2 Pro. But Mavic 2 Pro's autofocus failed me just for a few seconds. But during what was a key moment, and I didn't have extra batteries charged and ready, allocated for that particular island. I had other batteries, but I was using them for other islands. And, you know, sometimes you've got one shot, and if you've only got one shot for whatever reason, you know, number of batteries, amount of storage space on SD cards, etc., whatever the reason may be, if you've only got one shot and your equipment fails you during that one shot, you just don't get it. And, you know, you've only got yourself to blame because you trusted the equipment. So, for me, I can confidently say Mavic Air 2 is the best drone on the market today. The reason that Mavic Air 2 is the best drone on the market today. Now, let's say hypothetically, let's say they were the same price, the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic Air 2. At least at the time of filming this video, they are not. The Mavic 2 Pro, at least at the time of filming this video, is significantly more expensive. And you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where to order both the Mavic Air 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, and all the accessories. So, the thing is, you know, not even putting cost into the equation, because I don't like to develop opinions based upon price. I don't think that's a good way about, you know, reviewing anything and saying, okay, this is better than that. Well, actually, this is better because this is cheaper. This, you know, I don't think that's fair. So we're we're going to go with the assumption going forward during this video. Let's just say hypothetically, and they're not, but let's say hypothetically they were the same price. So I'm looking at this drone, the Mavic Air 2 and the Mavic 2 Pro, as if they were exactly the same price, which they are not. But this Mavic Air 2 wins for several reasons. Number one, it's got the OcuSync is super reliable. OcuSync and Mavic 2 Pro was super reliable as well. The battery life in Mavic Air 2 is significantly better. Now again, I've only been flying my Mavic Air 2 for a couple of weeks, but the battery life has been phenomenal. Even with one battery, I found that I'll just, fly for a few minutes and then bring her down and fly for a few minutes at another location, bring her down, fly for a few minutes at another location. If you're filming 5 or 6 minute long YouTube videos like I do with this, man, it's super easy to get multiple high quality flights out of one battery from the Mavic Air 2. So the battery life on the Mavic Air 2 grossly trumps, I wouldn't say grossly, but it significantly trumps the Mavic 2 Pro's battery life. The other thing is the autofocus on this Mavic Air 2's camera is rock solid. I don't have to put any guesswork into it. I don't have to deal with manual focus. All that I have to do is power on my controller, power on my Mavic Air 2, hit record, make sure my memory card's inserted and formatted, hit record, and boom. This camera magically captures the environment in a high level of detail. Very sharp. Check out my Mavic Air 2 video. See for yourself how sharp all the images are. I found that although this does have 4K 60, 4K 60, which Mavic 2 Pro does not. At least at the time of filming this video, Mavic 2 Pro does not have 4K 60. So if you're looking for 4K 60, Mavic Air 2 is your only option. With that being said, I've fallen in love with 4K 30, 4K 30 with HDR, which is high dynamic range. And if you're not a camera junkie or whatever and you don't know what HDR is, you've probably seen the smart TVs in your store that say, what am I trying to say? HDR, high dynamic range. You've probably seen those and you've probably questioned, well, what is HDR? What is high dynamic range? Watch my videos that I filmed with this, especially look at the shadows over the water, shadows and trees, that sort of stuff. The HDR, the high dynamic range, makes a huge visual difference. So for filming in broad daylight, filming in low light situations, sunsets, sure, the Mavic 2 Pro for sunsets is going to have a little bit better performance, but man, check out the sunset videos that I filmed with my Mavic Air 2. The performance in low light is phenomenal. I mean, again, I'm being fair here. The Mavic 2 Pro's camera, because of the nature of the camera, the 1-inch sensor, Mavic 2 Pro in low light is still going to do better. But think about the percentage of flights that you do in normal daylight hours versus low light situations. If you're doing more daytime type flying, you're probably going to be like me and say, man, Mavic Air 2 is the way to go, just because I don't have to fumble with focus. The battery life is better. The controller is better. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit, not that the Mavic 2 Pro is too big and too heavy to travel with, but this is still a little bit smaller. And but it's still heavy enough to handle wind really well. Haven't had any performance issues in moderate wind. So, this thing is just Mavic Air 2, not just because it's the newest drone, but Mavic Air 2 is the best drone on the market today, in my opinion. Again, we're all subject to our own opinions, but in my opinion, it's the best drone on the market today, just because, to summarize, it's got great battery life, it's got an awesome controller, the best controller available for drones today, and it's got a camera that, should I want to do 4K 60, I can. But the 4K 30 high dynamic range is incredible. I don't have to fumble with manual focus. I don't have to worry, is autofocus going to fail me? Because that was only a concern I had with Mavic 2 Pro. And again, the Mavic 2 Pro, the more recent firmwares for Mavic 2 Pro, the autofocus worked quite well. But the fact that the autofocus failed during a key moment, during a, boom, I had one shot and that was it type filming situation, Yeah, that put a bad taste in my mouth regarding the Mavic 2 Pro's reliability. You've got to trust your equipment, and I can't trust the Mavic 2 Pro. So with that being the case, and again, I've only been flying this Mavic Air 2 for a few weeks, but I can confidently go ahead and say that the Mavic Air 2 is the best drone on the market today. So, if you've already got a Mavic 2 Pro, don't let me try to steer you into buying an additional drone and buying a Mavic Air 2, because if you've already got a Mavic 2 Pro, that may be more than good enough. But if you don't have either drone, I would definitely go Mavic Air 2. And again, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find all the different bundles of Mavic Air 2. And you can also find the Mavic 2 Pro there. But, I wouldn't necessarily say, well, we're gonna save that discussion for another video. But yes, Mavic Air 2 is the best drone on the market today. Yes, Mavic Air 2 being the best drone on the market today, yes, it does trump Mavic 2 Pro. So these are my opinions. Tell me what you think within the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. I appreciate your viewership, and again, I appreciate you shopping epicdroneshow.com for all of your drone and drone accessory needs. Just head on over to epicdroneshow.com or simply expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where you can buy drones. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day and fly safely. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.